Here in Rome is Yosaki Wada and Ignacio Boiso, among other colleagues. The idea of this meeting is formalize this association. This association is of individuals, it's not of companies or institutions, it's pure based on individuals. And the agenda for today is the report of the acting president and financial report, the nominations paper for ratification, work plan for the board, and after that we will have a number of proof of concept demos with some colleagues related with open source. So let me pass quickly to the report of the acting president. Let me move. So basically the idea started in the Eurofiling group time ago, that how to improve the capacity we have to promote our standards and to explain how the standards work. And thanks to Herr Fischer, that provide RL, that is an open source tool that is a very interesting viewer, we started the idea. So in the workshop in Luxembourg in November 2010, the OpenFiling initiative was presented with Diane Miller from Canada, Herr Fischer from USA, and myself from the Eurofiling. And in the next workshop of a Eurofiling group, we in March in 2011 in London, we have the official announcement of the OpenFiling initiative. Was the formally signed the initial assembly, the bylaws were approved, and the 3 people from Spain was nominated as acting board in order to ask for the legalization according to the Spanish Register of Non-for-Profit Association. We asked for founding members, and in April the association was filed in the Community of Madrid, Spain, for legal status. In the meantime, XBL Spain organized an OpenFiling contest for IT architects, and in July 2011 the OpenFiling became legal according to the Spanish Register of Non-for-Profit Association, and we start to work with the one tool that is the Excel XBRL generator tool for data models. And during the summer we organized the work in order to have the first regular General Assembly here in Rome. Today, Monday, September 5. This is basically the report of the acting president, that is me. I don't know if you have comments or questions or something related the work done until the moment. No questions? So if there are no questions, the next point is the next point in the agenda is the. So let me move. Next point in the agenda is the nominations paper. Please, Javi, could you pass the control to Olivier Servet to present the nominations paper, please?
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So upon your request, I have prepared a list of few members. So we've received a number of applications, and I'm pleased to let you know that we now have 9 members. So you should have received this by email from Ignacio, but let me briefly repeat who they are. So Ignacio Borgio is acting president and maybe will be appointed as effective president in a few seconds. Yoshiaki Wada as vice president, Igor Sakuma from Peru, Colm from Ireland, Herm Fisher from the USA, Diane Mueller from Canada, Tushar Das from India, Alison Ugarte from the USA, and Eduardo Gonzalez from Spain. So I think we are now seeking for a motion to approve these appointments and to ratify and to formalize this composition of initial board.
And the question is request for approval of the nominations paper. Let me to say what is the list. Wait a minute, please. Implementation. So basically, this is the list of people. Is you can read the idea is to have a distribution among the different regions. People from Europe, people from let me show you. People from Asia Pacific and people from Americas, and maybe useful that the Vice President and the President for the nominations introduce yourself. Yosaki, please.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yosaki Wada from MTT Data and XDRN. I am also the member of the Board of Directors of XDRN International. When I had the idea of OpenFiling, it was quite fitting for my ideas for a long time because I have been in the XDR activity for the last 8 years, and I had the feeling that although the XDRL is implemented in all over the world, but sooner or later we will reach some sort of the difficulty which we have to break through for the enhancement of the XDR implementation. For example, when I visit the other Asian countries, the most frequent question I am asked is we need the cheaper or almost free tool to use or read XDR instance document. That is not only the case for Asian countries, but also in Japan, even in Japan. So this activity was quite reasonable for me, and I decided to join and jump into this initiative. Thank you very much.
So this is Ignacio Borgio. Basically, the idea of OpenFiling is like a logical continuation of Eurofiling. The idea is how to reduce the regulatory burden, how to facilitate the implementation of the XBRL solutions, providing examples, providing educational artifacts, providing proof of concept, providing a lot of things that may be useful for understanding what is XBRL to avoid the feeling that XBRL is extremely complex and it's an idea of the regulators that have nothing better to do with the taxpayers' money. And with this idea is to organize OpenFiling. Obviously, this is not for-profit association to do that, and also to create an opportunity for entrepreneurs that provide solutions, obviously commercial solutions, but basic also in this kind of technology that may be a wonderful complement for the established vendors, because in most cases the needs of the end users are below the radar of the commercial vendors. It's very difficult how to help, for instance, academy or, for instance, very small reporting entities to provide or to use XBRL that is not a clear market for established vendors. And also to increase the competition in the and speed the innovation, because a lot of people in the technical board and the technical working group of XBRL International are small companies and entrepreneurs that may have opportunities to implement the solutions and to provide this kind of solutions. So this is the idea of this group. And basically, the idea is you agree with this nomination paper that has been made by as agreement. All the people that was interested in be part of the board has been affected, and they are not other competitors in that point. I don't know if you have comments about, or Olivier, you have some comments related with this nomination paper.
No, I think we have, as you just said, a kind of broad geographical but also business diversity in all the 9 members. As you said, we have a representative of all regions, but also from different business areas. So I think the composition of the initial board is pretty good. So just based on my experience, which is the one of the XBRL International, but also the one of the IFRS Foundation and the ISB, we are conducting a similar exercise to have this diversity in by region and by business area. So I think it's a good point.
Okay. Comments, points? Wonderful. Then the next point is the work plan for the board. Basically, related with the, the financial report is quite easy. As we have not expenses, we don't need money to run, because all of this based in a web page and registration. We don't need money, and the membership is free, so we don't need treasury or financial report or something similar. The election procedure. And the next point is the work plan. So what are we have a conference call, an initial conference call when the nomination paper was assembled. And this is basically the 5 tracks we try to work. Education and examples for develop and extend taxonomies that today in the Eurofiling working group we have a clear point of what is the needed to that related with the pure dimensional, half dimensional, no dimensional, and who knows dimensional taxonomies. The second point is oriented to implementation, what happened with the converters and architecture for the converters, and architecture of IT in general, like the hours of XBRL Spain. Third point is sustainability, because the life is not for free. Maybe that the software is for free, but the life is not for free, and this needs to be sustainable. And we need to create ecosystems, or to help, not to create, to help ecosystems between consumers, providers, donors, and so on to work properly. Other is a topic related with open source usage that is very common in open source in a number of areas, but it's not so common in the XBRL area. They are not too much. And last but not the less important point is the cooperation among OpenFiling members. So the idea is that this is the work plan for the board to work in these areas. Obviously, with the capacity we have to work on top of the day-to-day business. But anyway, this is better than nothing. So the next steps are that the board will start to organize regular meetings, minutes, charter, and so on in this way. Also with the problem that as we are around the globe, find a time for conference call is a complex question. And well, you have a contributed background from one member of the board, basically to say that source code is also not a free option, is a quality option to the traditional providers, with the idea that the open source is a business like any others that have some advantages according to this idea. So related to that, this is the work plan for if you have comments or questions or suggestions or something. So, this is the democracy. Everybody is mute. So I imagine that everybody agrees on that. Okay. So the last, after the formal points of the agenda, that has been the report of the acting president, the nomination paper, and the work plan. First, thank you very much to all of you for your support. And now we move to the more practical things. It's related with demos. During this time, we organized two areas of advance. One area of advance has been international open competition for IT architects, that I must to say that the success has been limited, extremely limited. And well, the idea is to present the final results in the next Friday in Macerata, but don't expect too much because there has been not a success. But the other track has been in XBRL Spain as plan B to develop proof of concept tools. Why we need rely only on an international hours? Why not to develop all proof of concept tools? And this is the idea. We have we developed in 3 proof of concept demos. One demo is has been made by the manager of XBRL Spain and me. It's a proof of concept demo to transfer flat files in Excel into XBRL instance documents using the pure dimensional so-called data-centric approach and the moderately dimensional so-called front-centric approach of Finred, in order to check what are the differences between one approach and another from a regular reporting entity that have to send information. Second point is organized by Ignacio Santos, is how to link XBRL with a relational database management system. Basically, how to download XBRL instance information into a relational database. And the last but not the least is how to use RL. RL is a development of Herb Fisher. Herb Fisher is here. but probably Hellfisher knows very well how runs RL. So we prefer that Hellfisher don't explain to us how RL is running. Instead of that, Ignacio Amilibia, the three-dimensional Ignacio, Boixo, Santos Amilibia, will explain how to use RL and how to customize RL. What is customized is how to provide a user manual and how to translate RL errors into local, in the national languages in order that use RL as a viewer for different issues. So let me start the work in that point. So let me go to, okay. What is a instance document according to the dimensional approach, the data model approach? Okay, is this. You can see here, there are something. And as I explained this morning, dimensions, a date, and an entity. And you have one context, other context, other context, more context. I don't know. Well, okay. And quite simple, each context have a value. Okay? This is the context I don't know what. A primary item, decimals, uniref, a context that is a combination of dimensions, and a value. That's all. This is an example of instance document. Okay. We develop an Excel spreadsheet that basically say, okay, you have a cell and a value. What is a cell? You may identify one cell and say this cell have this value, this other cell have this value. Why not? And what we need in addition to the cell? We need an entity and a period. Okay? And we may generate all the information that we need to create an instance document. All the information we need to create an instance document is a primary item, the decimals, the unit ref, the value, the identifier, and the dimensional information. What is dimensional information? A dimension and a dimension member. Dimension and dimension member. Quite simple. How we are able to move from a typical flat file, because this is a pure flat file, code value, code value, code value, into a dimensional instance document. It's quite simple, because each cell have a fixed combination of dimensions in this example. If you develop the full correct, you put 40,000 cells, and each cell have a specific combination of dimensions. And you have something that is fixed in the header as XVRL information and the end. So once you have this, you may export to XBRL. And to export to XBRL, let me check. Excel. Okay. We export. And when we open, this. We see the same. Well, the only difference is this line, that this has been generated with a proof of concept converter. This proof of concept converter have 400 lines of code and runs with explicit dimensions, typed dimensions, tupples, and so on. No problem. But looks similar, are really similar. Okay, we open RL. I don't know what is RL. Oops. Okay, RL. In RL, we open. Let me check. This is the original instance document. With the rendering in base and RL that solves the FinRep table. Okay, with this information. And we may open the Excel instance document, the Excel instance document generated. That also runs. So, what is the idea? That this is the original instance document. This is the instance document generated with that is extremely similar. Yeah, you can see the one another. Well, in this exercise, I create a footnote at the end, because the footnote, how to create a footnote in XBRL is also that is canonical. And as you can see, the figures are from 1 to I don't know what number, and the footnote and so on. Well, it's simple exercise. And you can see that. Okay. What is the difference from a user point of view between the pure dimensional taxonomy and the moderately dimensional taxonomy? Okay. Go to the moderately dimensional taxonomy. We'll go to this is the modality dimensional taxonomy, and this is the sample. Well, the difference is the modality dimensional taxonomy in this case have less dimensions. For such a reason it's modality. So, have less dimensions, generated with Fujitsu X1 and so on. But we may do the same. We have this. But from a reporting entity, this is the same. It's a pure flat file. The difference is the parameters. The parameters here are different because they are less, I don't know where are the, yes, they are less dimensions. But if they are more or less dimensions, is something that is hiding, because the only important with this tool is what are the value of the cells. What is the decomposition of the cells? Okay, this is the cells generated that have less dimensions, but this is an internal process. Obviously, here is explicit, because this is a proof of concept for learning purposes. This is explicit how this is running. Obviously, they takes a lot of time because it's a simple proof of concept. And let me show what is the, okay, processes. Export to XBRL. My God. I have to go back. Modality dimensional, taxonomy, instances. Okay. ISO. It's working, is created in a different way, but also this is valid. We may open this with RL. Let me open RL. This is the, oh, sorry, this is the original one. But unfortunately, we have no rendering in base. As we have no rendering in base, RL show the facts as a list. On top. Presentation, formula, file list. Okay. And the last one, excuse me. I will. Let me. Okay. This is This is the fat list, okay? Okay, so basically, what is the idea of that? Is that irrespective what is the architecture of the taxonomy, you may provide a tool, that this is a simple tool. You can see, well, this is a simple tool that I don't know how to see here the well, anyway. Excuse me?
If you go back to views and that's macros, then you see the code. Oh, no, on yours. On Excel.
On Excel, yes.
Use this stuff.
This.
To the very right, macros.
Macros, okay. I am not expert in this version of the. Okay, so I'm sorry I am unable to show the. Okay, so basically that's.
Ignacio, excuse me. Alt F11.
Alt F11. Okay, thank you. So this is all the code you need to have here. This is written by Javi Moran with me. For instance, how to manage a tuple, how to manage a footnote, or how to manage everything. And for instance, all the code for the preprocessor is basically this nested loop to transform. But this has been not developed, obviously, as a production tool. It's only as proof of concept tool with the idea. Because in Spain, we have a serious problem with this kind of converters, because the reporting entities are very, very happy using flat files. The regulators are very, very happy using XVR instance documents, how to convert from one side to other. And we have a serious problem developing one converter per taxonomy hard-coded. So this exercise is show that the same converter with the same code is valid for FinRep dimensional, FinRep from centric, and also for basically we are testing with the Spanish GAP and other kind of taxonomies in order to simplify the life and provide a generic converter. That the trick of the converter is the parameterization. Okay, this kind of parameters, and you can see here how this works. Let me show this other. In this case, in the pure dimensional, we have a single primary item, except in one case, that is, well, basically we have one primary item, that is this primary item, and a number of dimensions. Okay, and the idea is each cell say, well, this is what are the dimensions of each cells, and the primary item, what is the translation of the primary item, that is basically this one here. In the case of the moderately dimensional, we have a number of primary items, from item 1 to item 122. So this is the difference. We collapse as a number of dimensional combination was being collapsed into the primary item. So we have a larger number of primary items and less dimensions. Because the number of dimensions we have here is really limited. Well, more or less limited. The topic is what are the label or the identification of the dimension is counterparty sector and so on. Well, depends what are your preference. In this case, it's something like in English, counterparty sector dimension incorporated central banks. And in this other case, it's more abstract. It's the, well, as far as I remember, this notation was agreed in Vienna to put very short names, and this other notation is more traditional. But for the reporting entity, all of this is hidden, because the only relevant is what are the code of the cell and what are the value of the cell. That all the IT programmers understand this kind of flat file approach. So, in conclusion, the experience in XBRL Spain that we discussed this topic several times, the more relevant point is how to provide a converter to the reporting entities in the way that the reporting entities are able to manage. For instance, the problem with the business register or the municipalities, because Ignacio Melivia was hired by XBRL Spain to update a converter for municipalities. The municipalities are 8,000 municipalities in Spain with maybe 10 or 20 providers. But that providers are not interested in XBRL at all. Are only interested in a simple converter from a flat file to the municipality XBRL taxonomy provided by the Ministry of Treasury in Spain. So this is the idea that instead to develop a converter hardwired per each time is put the logic as parameters because the structure of XBRL is always standard, and then use a generic converter parameterized in each different taxonomy. Obviously, maybe you develop taxonomies that can be parameterized in this point, but in general, this is quite easy to parameterize. And the instructions are quite simple, and the idea is to finalize this. Well, this is the idea. What are the instructions of the preprocessor? These are two phases, and the instructions of the generator. That is basically that use, I say, use footnotes, uniref, schemas, period instance, period durations, dimensions in explicit dimensions, typed dimensions, tuples, and so on. Obviously, segment and scenario, because some countries use segment and scenario on dimensions. And, well, basically that's all. Comments about this proof of concept?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure what this example is trying to demonstrate. I mean, looking at the example as it is, it seems to me that the focus is shifted from the XBRL instance, so from the modeling underlying the taxonomy to the modeling of a flat file. Because this flat file needs to be precisely modeled. The codes of the cells have to be communicated. How to calculate each value has to be exactly communicated, and where to put the date and the identifier needs to be also communicated. Otherwise, this kind of approach doesn't work. So from this perspective, if you specify so many things about that flat file approach, and if people are happy with this flat file approach, it seems to me that what is XBRL is simply a classification system of dead codes, which should perfectly survive inside the regulator. Want to spread XBRL to submitters. What is the risk?
The reason is that the practical experience in Spain is that the small software companies don't understand XBRL. Have no time. They are very small companies, 5 people, and say, no, please provide a converter to me. We have no time, no capacity, it's not our business to create XBRL. So the idea is that as XBRL Spain provides the taxonomy, also XBRL Spain provides a converter. This is the way in which we are working in Spain, providing the taxonomy and providing the converter for very small companies.
I would add that you need also to provide the specification of the input file, which you are not mentioning.
Yeah.
Not only the converter. You are providing the taxonomy, the converter, and the specification of the input file. So you are, in the end, you are providing the specification of the input file. You could avoid to provide the converter, because it makes no sense if you provide the specification of the input file.
If you provide the specification of the input file, then each small software company have to be able to create XBRL instance documents. In our experience, a lot of small IT companies have not the capacity to create not only XBRL instance document, probably XML files, probably, but by sure XBRL instance documents. So we should provide something more simple. We should provide a flat file, like a traditional format that I explained this morning. This cell is the cell number I don't know what, and the value of this cell is I don't know what. Well, this is a topic for that.
Just a comment before I get in terms of Spain, we have a conversion that is actually independent of taxonomy and works as well. And the feedback that we had from software vendors and from market in general, it was a problem to the deployment of XBRL, because once the regulator provides a tool and maintains a tool, then it's very hard for a department, for IT department, to justify investment in anything. Because the question is, if the regulator is providing you the tool, why do you have to make an investment? Why do you have to train your people or something? So what was something that was, it's been very useful for a long time, is something that actually we have already publicly announced that it's not going to be longer supported. And now that we have announced that, there's been a lot more interest in the science market, and it's in fact the science market for there. So I mean, this is an interesting proof of concept for people that maybe would be a bit confused about how we're working and what's how difficult it is to produce an instance document. But at the same time, we have to be very careful providing that kind of or at least
yeah. No, I fully agree with that.
I confirm because for the KRI, we provided a code for each cell, and we transformed the spreadsheet, which is the CSV, into a paragraph. So we had the same experiments, and it's true that 80% of the submitters used this tool.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with the comment of Victor, because the problem is if a regulator provides a tool, kills the market, because who will compete with the regulator? Nobody. This proof of concept is not oriented to be provided by the regulator, because then the regulator assumes a responsibility. The regulator transforms itself in a software vendor. then the idea is that this may be provided as proof of concept, open source, and then the market, if for instance a company or an entrepreneur take that and provide this as a service, perfect. But now this is not a commercial tool, this is not a tool for production. It's a tool for proof of concept that maybe that Xbrl explained that is already providing a tool, is maybe useful for the next version of this tool, but not for the regulator, because obviously the regulator is the regulator and may kill the market. So I will close that because my colleague Ignacio will move to the next point, but I will answer the other points. So, okay?
No. Just one little comment about the experience, our experience in Italy. Basically, we for all the data flow that we collect in XBRL format, basically we publish the taxonomy, we publish the guidance to build the instance documents, and full stop. For some surveys, we provide also the data entry, because these kind of surveys are targeted to small companies or things like this. But in such a case, simply the companies don't care about the technical format, and in fact it's not useful to communicate what is the data format. In such a case, we still collect the data into XBRL. Basically, the data entry produces the XBRL behind the scene. But this is done because from a technical perspective, there is a uniform processing of the incoming data. So there are these two things. We provide data entry, and then technical format doesn't matter, or we provide the XBRL taxonomy, full stop. To provide XBRL taxonomies, converters, and alternative formats, it's quite confusing, maybe.
More comments? Now, this is a presentation of Ignacio Santos, related how to move from XBRL document to relational data. The main thing, this is a Git, brand for AREL, a team from AREL, will be presented now.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Ignacio Santos. Elena Castro and I will continue working about the mapping between SBRL and multidimensional model, in this case with the relational model. This presentation is divided in 6 sections. A little introduction, the architecture about this mapping, the structure of metadata. The idea is we have the instance here. In other here we have the database. Then we have to obtain the metadata. After we have the metadata in the database, then we have to move the data from the instance document to the database. And after queries and transformation, we have the instance in the database. Then we have we want to do queries or transform to other tools and conclusions. The idea is to simplify the way of work in certain companies. That the idea is you can translate the instance document in a way, in an easy way to a database. a database. A lot of people, the database is a tool that a lot of people can be work without a problem because because for me it's clear. I don't know. Okay. Then the idea is we want to simplify in the first step because we work only with a document instance document, only instant document, no every instant document. But I think that we can to extend to other instant documents. We work with the last version or the last draft of FinRep 2012, last June. Architecture. What is the architecture? Is we have the extraction of the metadata. What is the metadata? The dimension, the primary items, is the metadata. After we have in the database, we have this data, this metadata. Then I need the data. Then I population the database. Maybe sorry, because I think also I think always in other data warehouse, I have a files, a set of files, and then I make a population of database. In this proof of concept, the domain, the core, the center is RL, because RL is a free tool. Then and with this tool we obtain certain data, especially the metadata. We use Microsoft SQL Server 2008 because it's a database very common. But if you want to use Oracle, DB2 or Sybase, it's key. Visual Basic is the program language because a lot of people know, including my colleague Ignacio. Sorry, it's a joke. Transact SQL is a way of a program in database, similar to PLSQL of Oracle. Excel, you know, and is based in Windows 7. Extraction of metadata. We have two things. The first thing is I need one moment. Sorry. I need the structure of the metadata. Sorry, I perdido el lápiz. Okay. I need the tables of the facts, the table of the context, the table, etc. Then the first phase is to obtain the structure, the tables. After, when I have the structure in the database, I have the second process. From RL, I obtain a file with the dimension, primary item, so on, the metadata. And with a process in Visual Basic Script, for me, Visual Basic with another language, for me it's the same. In this proof is Visual Basic. We obtain a file with the SQL sentence. Here is the diagram with the structure of the database. You can see the dimensions. Sorry, the attribute of the dimension. Sorry, because attribute of dimension is in the multidimensional data model is equivalent to members in SBRL data model. The primary items, I don't know. The facts and so on. Okay. The first question, I create the data, the structure. You are here empty any tables, okay? Non tables. Yes, here the structure, okay, and voila, the tables, no, the tables, no, yes, refresh the tables, okay, but empty tables only, okay, voila, fresh, no, thank you, I don't know French, but I'm sorry. In the second, I obtain the file of RL and transform to SQL sentence. Okay. One moment, please. The script is start. Is this? With Windows Console. This needs 4 parameters: the file of RL and the log file, the SQL sentence, and the database. Okay, it's wonderful, no? No. And after I have here the sentence SQL. I close because it's better. Open. But now, if before to execute this this script, sorry, primary items here is empty, It's vale. Sorry. Then I execute. The RL give me the attribute of the dimension, the members repeat for this primary the primary item is repeated. Okay. After. No. Now, here I have the taxonomy and the document instance document. Here in the database, I have only the metadata. Now, I need the data. Where is the data? Is in a document instance. We have two solutions. The first solution is I obtain the data from RL, or I obtain the data directly on the document instance. In our case, it's directly of document instance with another visualization script. Sorry. And I create another SQL sentence. Okay. Close. Sorry, before. Yes. It's very easy, no? It's very easy, no? Yeah? Sorry. You are very serious. Yeah? Your people. I said these people are very serious. Nice. I'm sorry. Execute. Here. Here, the contest. Okay. Now, if you remember, here it's possible. No. Okay. Here, you remember, we have fill out the tables. For me, for the relational model, what is a contest? I know that you know perfectly that is a contest. For the relational model, a contest is a set of dimension. What is a dimension? The entity. Dimension, the period of time. Dimension, the segment. Dimension or set of dimension. As the scenario is a set of dimension. But a little more. But what is a primary item for our for the relational model? The primary item is one attribute of dimension, but it's a special concept because define the type of the fact, but need a context. Okay. One is, in my opinion. I don't know the general opinion. You know a lot. You know more. Okay. Okay. And the last question is, we have in the database. We are happy because our data, our instance document. Is in database, but we have to work with the database. What is there? For example, we have to obtain the similar spreadsheet that Ignacio Bocho shown in 2 minutes ago. Okay. Please. Then I need to do a query to obtain some similar. Then I execute another procedure. One moment, please. I close. One moment, please. And now explain. Now, with this intermediate process, I obtain, or we obtain, the group of dimensions. Notice that if you remember, in data point model, okay, you have the dimension category is divided in 5 sub-dimensions. Then I obtain the group of dimension categories and etc. Now, with next procedure, one moment please. I close. Yes. really is this this is the query. The query is very easy. I think that this procedure is in SQL Server, but if we can to transform to PL/SQL of Oracle in a way, in an easy way. Okay, execute. Okay, and here I have this table. Obviously, we have to do a lot more things. Sorry, but I have only 5 minutes. Well, a little more. Yes, okay. You have here. We have here the contents, the cells, the primary item, and the dimension. In a way, excuse me, please. In an easy way of okay, yeah. We import this table. It's wonderful, no? No, please. This is the database. The database are wonderful. No. I'm sorry because this way. Okay. Another source. SQL Server. Okay, the database TSBRL report. The name of the table is incorrect. I'm sorry. No, it's not a data point. It's a mistake. Wonderful. In a moment. Okay, but. Michele, this column doesn't like Michele.
No, I like it.
No, not wonderful. No, wonderful. No. Then I transform. Excuse me, please. Select this column. Okay.
And exploit all the potential of Excel.
Yes. Okay. Semicolon. I'm perfect. One moment, only one moment. I'm sorry. Okay.
So we can conclude that Excel is a powerful tool.
As you can see, this is just the opposite process because I started in dimensions and figures to create an instance, and this is just the opposite process to go from instance to dimensions and value. So we give both the process errors.
But for conclusion, we want to extend because we use only FinRed, but we think that is easy to extend to every taxonomy and every instance documents. We think that's easy transformation to other platform. If you have question, it's the moment, or by email. I hope that in 3 or 4 days we can upload in Eurofiling web page. Okay. Sorry, OpenFiling. OpenFiling. This program, the database on this example with some comments. More
comments, please.
It's tired.
Great work.
Do you like this? Why do you like this word and not my word?
Perhaps I'm not love databases, so this is focused on relational databases. Great work. And this Ignacio is very sympathetic.
So anyway, as you can see, basically the concept is the same. It's how to transform instance document in a relational database. Basically, this is the advantage of the dimensional approach, because when you work with dimensional approach, the link between databases and the dimensional approach is simple, more simple, than working with a list, a long list of primary key.
You have to think that a database, especially the multidimensional database that is from 2000, we have tools for data mining and other tools. Okay. Thank you very much.
Ignacio Santos, thank you very much. And now the last but not the least is the Adele approach with the 3D.
Thank you. Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Ignacio Analivia, and this is the last presentation of the day, so I'll be brief for you to be free. I decided to call it XBRL interaction layer. I really don't know why, because what this really is a review on the XBRL process, based mainly in the experience I had working as a XBRL tool developer. This is the summary. There are some spoilers in here, but I'll be very brief. So let's get into the introduction. I'm an employee from XBRL España. I was hired to update the XBRL instance file processing tool that they were using for municipalities, and mainly those tools have these three main operations needed by the users, that are instance file creation, visualization, and validation. And then I had to give support to the users and study what their problems were and what were their needs. So what I have observed from this process is that the current situation in Spain is there are several tools, one tool for each taxonomy, and they are very different, and every tool it's useful only for the taxonomy it has meant to be programmed. So this causes a lot of problems, and the main problem is that there are very different data entry methods. Every tool has a different processing method. Some of them are XML files, some of them are Excel. They're very different, and for every tool there is a different training process, and that causes problems for the users. And many of those tools are what I have decided to call static, and this is that they have hard-coded taxonomies. So I was hired to update a tool because the taxonomy had changed, and the tool had the taxonomy hard-coded directly into the source code, so it was not useful anymore. So it costs money to maintain, and they are close to the open source community. Well, this has an asterisk because this is not actually true, because the last versions of these tools has been released with an open source license. But okay, so in the next slide I will be developing more the point that in some cases taxonomic knowledge is required. So the conclusion of this is that the XBRL process at the moment is not homogeneous. It's depending on what taxonomy. There are different tools and different training methods. So this is a problem for the users. The second problem we have is that the XBRL process is not layered. So what does this mean? When I was working with the users, they were forming some XML files that were not directly XBRL, but they have to take in consideration some restrictions of the taxonomy. And this was very, very, very problematic, and I have represented with those people around there. There are different colors. Some of them are developers, some of them are reporters, and nowadays they are all working together in the same things. Reporters have to ask for developers about taxonomy stuff, and it's like a big mess. So what's the desired solution we would like to have? A layered scheme. It's like a modular programmation, and you know that the layered scheme always works very well. So we can separate those people from in different parts of the XBRL process. The reporters just have to report, and the developers they have to program and code the tools. So the layer between those, the reporting and the taxonomy creation process, will be a standard tool or a framework that will be abstract the process of the taxonomy and its restrictions to the reporters. So what are the features? Well, as I said before, the isolation of different parts of the process and minimum knowledge for its layer. So that's consequently user-friendly, because the users don't have to know things about the taxonomy itself. It's easier to maintain because you don't have to change all the application, just the things that change, and it features taxonomy abstraction and independence. Because as I've said before, if you have the restrictions automatically managed by the tool, the reporters don't have to worry about this. And of course, it offers more flexibility and extendability. So, looking for a solution, as I said before, the solution will be a framework with, at least for us, for the reporters in Spain, it should have those features. It should be taxonomy independent, it should be open source and extendable, because if we want to extend something, we would like to have access to the source code to modify it, offering the three main operations that are creation, visualization, and validation. And it should feature also other system integration, because many of the companies don't deal with the tool itself, they just integrate it into their systems. So we have taken a look, and the tool we have found out that suits our needs nowadays. But nowadays it's the only one, but it doesn't mean that it's the only possible tool now that her is not here. So what are the features of RL? It's Python based, and I personally like Python a lot. It's a good language. It has Apache license, which is open source. It's multi-platform, and you can use it in, for example, Linux systems, which I also like. It's modular, and it's based in like a MVC controller, Vista controller model. So there is view independence from the controller. It has a API mode for other systems integration. It's very easy to use. One point I think it's very important is it has no other dependencies. It means that you don't need Excel, you don't need even Microsoft Office or Microsoft Windows. You just need the tool to work and do whatever. So this is a comparison of the tool that it's now managed by the municipalities. There are 3 windows. The left one is the data entry method. It's a XML file made by hand by the reporters, and very problematic. The upper one is the output of the visualization, which is an HTML file, and the last one is the interface, the main interface. So this is the same file processed in the in the previous slide, but with RL, and we can see that there is no rendering layer, there is no rendering tab because there is no rendering information in this taxonomy, but the other features are integrated into this program. And here we can see the FinRep example we have seen many times today, and this is how easy it could be the data entry for the reporters if the taxonomy is well done. So they just can click and fill in the gaps in the way that they fill a paper. So this will be very, very good because now they have to deal with a lot of problems with different data entry methods. So if we think this is a good solution, we should take some steps in adapting the solution. The first one would be the internationalization, and RL is based on the Python's getText internationalization tool. It's very easy and offers an easy way to translate the application to local language. And we will also offer user training. We have done this by writing a RL user manual for dummy users, covering all the simple steps like downloading and installation and whatever. And in the last slide, this is a screenshot of the previously mentioned tool, the getText internationalization tool. And here you can see every string of text in the local language, and there you can type in your own language to translate easily the application. So, if there are any questions, any comments?
A small detail. You had a more nice Christmas list of things that should be falling out from the sky, and it happens to be that Herm spent a lifetime in building the knowledge for XBRL, building the tool for XBRL, and you just expect it to be free and we can use it. And where do all those things come from?
Yeah, sure. Because if, as we said before, if the tools are given by the Bank of Spain, they're not the same opportunities for the small companies. And with this tool, small companies could get involved and get together, working in the same tool to create some competition, I think.
There's no business case. It's the good heart for Herm that he does this.
Well, maybe.
There's no business case. It's simple as that. Why would you make something that you can give away and then go back to your island and sit in the sun?
Oh, but we can adapt it.
The business case, this is the reason why Nathan Blue is working here. You may show you have here the file, the translation of the...
Yeah.
The idea is to XBRL Spain have a business case that will promote the use of XBRL in Spain. So the question is how to promote the use of XBRL if the people is unable to work with XBRL. I remember a call of my daughter. My daughter is working in the Spanish security supervisor. And my daughter said, Daddy, I just received an XBRL instance document. What hell is that? This is impossible to do. I asked to Javi Mora, the manager of XBRL Spain, please explain to my daughter how to understand an XBRL instance document. And my daughter had to download S1 and open the instance document with S1. This is not practical. We need something easy. If we do something easier with this kind of tools, XBRL Spain is happy with that and also promoting the developers of this kind of tools. And if at least we provide reputation, that is one point. And when you have reputation in the market, you have more reputation, probably you will be more selected for public tenders. That is the part that I understand. That is, obviously, this is the second part of the idea. But also to receive a contract, direct contracts to develop specific things. So the question is, what is the ecosystem for open source? this is a topic, and this is a discussion topic, how to maintain the open source sustainable, but the current situation in Spain that we have until now is not sustainable.
Yeah, and there are companies producing open source, just open source and free tools and making money from them.
Yeah, but they're not making money on the tool, but on the services around.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
On the services, yes. On the services around, I think is the tool. But what is the problem until now? That the Spanish government subsidized the creation of XBRL open source tools. But these XBRL open source tools are hard-coded, case by case, and are not sustainable because the government must put money every year to update that tools. So this is a good business for the companies that win the public tenders to develop the tools. But it's not a good business for XBRL Spain because we have no capacity to maintain that. So we prefer think first in the sustainability. How make the thing sustainable? Open source or not open source? Sustainable. To make something sustainable, with limited resources, you need a collaborative approach. And this collaborative approach is easier with open source than without open source, in one hand. And the other is, even we have not a lot of money, we have some money. And the idea is to contract the experts that develop that in XBRL Spain to provide this kind of tools for all users. In Spain, in the XBRL Spain, we have a huge debate if the market should provide everything or not. The empirical evidence is that the market don't provide everything. For instance, don't provide anything at all for my data in the security supervision, for the academy, for reducing the entry barrier to XBRL, that is just against of the objectives of XBRL Spain. So for such a reason, for us, this kind of open source is full of sense. In addition to that, in Eurofiling and also in the IOPA, probably we have a problem. What happened with the countries like Spain that will implement XBRL in insurance supervision? When the small insurance companies in Spain try to report in XBRL, what the supervisors say? Go to United Kingdom and ask for help, or in Netherlands or in this kind of countries, import talent from outside to work in Spain. This is the problem I have constantly in Latin America. My colleagues from some companies are really happy with me because I say to the Latin America, please work with XBRL. And the other day they must contract people from Europe to develop XBRL in Latin America. This is not sustainable.
For that one company, indeed.
I don't know. More comments. Well, could you explain this is the translation, please?
What?
This translation.
Oh yeah, this is I explained before. It's the local language translation file with for the get text internationalization tool.
I have one question. Could the get text be hooked up to something like the web page uses a WordPress thing that translates? We found we put bathroom on the front page, but we select our words carefully for the translator programs. Would there be a way to do run it through something automatic like WordPress and Google, or so you don't need a human to make the get text translation?
Yeah.
Okay, so in such a case, please develop an automated process to translate, because the problem is not to translate once to Spanish. The problem is if we use this in Europe, we need an automated process to translate to a number of languages.
Right, but what I meant was there are automatic translators like on the web page, the one that comes with WordPress.
Yeah, sure.
So is there a way to see how the WordPress thing works and send the text file through and grab it and put it back into Python?
Yeah, sure. You can script something, but I don't like automatic translators because they don't really work very well. But yeah, you can do a simple script and generate any of those files you want.
I believe that if you had a question you already wanted the answer, but yes, it's file, so there are already products on the market that allow crowdsourcing for completion.
Well, obviously, in any case, the idea is try to, this is our experience, how to reuse this kind of tools in Spain, because it may be useful once we know how to adopt AREL in Spain, may be useful to adopt this software in different contexts. If we are unable to make a solution with AREL for the Spanish users, according to the XBRL Spain needs, may be difficult to use this in Romania or Bulgaria or other countries. This is basically the story. Okay, more points? Other comments? Okay, so if there are no more points or no more comments, this is the end of the first regular General Assembly of OpenFiling. Thank you very much for your presence here. I hope that may be also useful for the colleagues of Eurofiling and so on. So, now, Michele, please, the logistic arrangements, please.
Well, logistics for this evening.